Alright, here's a 1 minute guitar idea. You can put pinky on 3, ring finger on 3, middle finger here. This is a G chord. So strum that. And then for the C chord, we're going to do this. It's actually a C9. And for D, we're going to go to here. This is a D sus4. We're really doing this just so I can show the tip. So what you want to do is try to hit 0-2, 0-2, or 0-2 here with pull-ons or hammer-ons or pull-offs. So watch. When you go to C, you hit 3rd fret. D, C, G. And that's it. And I'm going to keep going. So I think on these 1 minute videos, I'll go a little longer and go into depth. So this is a super useful trick. It's used in a lot of different songs. I know some people watch my channel like Modest Mouse, and there's a song Styrofoam Boots. That's a cool one. It's an older song, but they go like... something like that. They're just basically doing what I just showed. But what's actually going on here is pretty much this is a pentatonic in G. Most people, when they learn guitar, they learn that early on. It's either E minor pentatonic or G major pentatonic. And so it sounds like the pentatonic scale sounds kind of folky or a little bit bluesy or country to me, but you can use it in other ways and get different styles of songs out of it. And so the reason why in the 1 minute tip, I think it's easiest to practice it with these here is that you don't have to worry about the fingering as much to learn this trick. And really, if you want to practice it, you could do it without the chords. Just practice like... Try that pentatonic scale, which most people learn. If you don't know it, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 3. But let's say you're a little more advanced and you want to do more with it. I actually I don't like these chords myself. So I've been to a lot of open mic nights and just been around a lot of beginning guitar players. It's just it's a very beginner thing to do in my opinion. So I'd almost even prefer like without the D, but when switching to the C, the C9, I mean sometimes I really like that chord, but just I don't really enjoy like... So what you could do instead, you could switch to an actual C, but now it's going to be a little bit trickier fingering wise. That's why I didn't show that. So you got to hold down C here. Or you could just keep it low and not hit it. Or if you want to do more like a different vibe, you could do a C major 7. So now it's going to start to change though. It's not going to sound as country. So like you could hit G. And C. Now I prefer this tone personally for like the kind of songs I tend to make up or listen to. I mean, I really like that Styrofoam Boots song. And there's a White Stripes song, Hotel Yorba. It kind of does that. It's an old White Stripes song. I like that, but typically for myself, I'll do more like with the C major 7, which is C with the B in it. So basically it's the same idea I showed in the 1 minute tip, but you can go like... So if you need the B, I like G6 chord if you strum like this. It's a G6, and you go to C here. And then for D, you could hit just like a D like this. I don't like the D sus4, unless sometimes I like that chord, but not in that context. So I would do like a D sus2 or a D, or just mute the top. Now, if you want to expand it more, then what you can do is instead of doing pentatonic, you can start to add the other notes into it. So the notes that weren't in the pentatonic were C in the key of G major and F sharp. It had everything else because it had 5 notes, which is pentatonic, and there's 7 notes in a major scale. So the major scale is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And the pentatonic in this E minor pentatonic or G major pentatonic just doesn't have the F sharp or the C. But I actually do this a lot. This is getting a little more advanced, but watch. I hit the C over here. One other cool trick I learned recently, I like Dinosaur Jr., and I'd never really seen this. In one of their songs, which I might do a cover of or something at some point, but they hit the D like this. And they do it A to B hammer on. So if you're trying to get out of just pentatonic, then you can start to use the F sharp, you can use the C. You could also like expand it over to the right. And what helps if you want to do that is basically just like plant your finger on G and then start to explore around. So there's 2 things that you could do here. You could learn the major scale up and down in open position in G major. I used to do that a lot. That's helpful. Or you can just kind of play by ear. And I find like when I learn scales, it kind of subconsciously helps, but then I have to also just sit around and tinker. So you could go like... just playing a G scale, which is all natural notes up and down except the F is sharped, and that's the definition of a G major scale, which is basically what the notes end up as when you do the whole half pattern, which defines a major scale. And when you start on G, that's what the notes end up as. But I'll play it once just to show it. So watch. G is right here, then A string, B, C, D, E, F sharp is 4th ring, G, A. Now here you kind of have 2 options. You go to B on 4 and skip the open string, or you can go A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And then you gotta remember you have the E and the F sharp there. So that's why like when I went down, it's like... So it helps to practice. I mean, I did spend time when I was learning guitar, like... But like what really helps is starting to apply it. And what I would do is like this, more like you could pinch two notes and you go... And just try to find notes out of the scale that are... And when you find something that's cool, then try to like build something off of that. Like... F sharp. And then if you find it, then you could go to C. Now this is getting more advanced, so my idea here is do simple 1 minute and then get more and more advanced. Let's say I want to keep that riff going. And how am I going to do that when I go to my D chord? I could do it, like I could do, because I'm taking the D string, but if I want D to stay in the bass, then I have to play the D here. Oops. So I use this actually kind of a lot. You can use your 3rd finger, or it depends. Like this guitar, since it's classical, is pretty spaced out. On electric, it's sometimes not as much. But if you need the D and then you want to do something on the D string, like when you're playing these kind of tricks, then you could just move the D here. Watch A, B, C, D. Most people know that from tuning the guitar. It's right here. So, and then you could go, that's the riff. So. So that works, but if I wanted to hold the D down, like as I'm doing it, it actually makes it more like, if you heard the difference, listen. That sounds more bright. This starts to get into a little more like tension. Because this. So I actually kind of liked it, even though it cuts off the bass when I do it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I do over here a lot. I mean, the same thing will work with E minor, which is the 6th chord of G. So if you want to make it sad. The C to a G chord. Sounds kind of cool. I like C major 7. I like adding G into the bass of a C or a C major 7. It changes the vibe a lot. I like this chord sometimes. It's like, you could think of it as a D over F sharp, but a lot of times it almost sounds more like a minor chord. Like an F sharp, some sort of minor chord, because you got. Right here, I'll do the E minor. So I'm gonna go one chord, 6, then the 4, and then instead of the 5, I'll go to this, which is a substitute for the D chord, because this actually could be. So here we go. So 1 chord, 6 chord is E minor. C major 7 is the 4. I don't like that. I actually like the D. It's one other thing I do a lot with the D. If you need to get bass in there and you're gonna cut it off, you can hit the 5 in the bass. So like the A. Sounds pretty cool. So let's see. 1 chord. 6 chord. C major 7 is the 4. And I'll hit the A in the bass. So I'd probably vary the riff on the final time. And then one last final thing. So if you figure this out, what's like kind of a way to get even more advanced, if this is making sense, then what you can do is try to move it up the guitar. Like, so what I would do is I think, all right, okay, so I'm going E, so I can move it there, and I might be like, well, how am I going to play this, right? Like, actually, like, you'll learn stuff just like being like, I made it up in open position, move it, so watch. E, C, and D. So the riff became but the reason why it's cool is then, like, when when you are up here, you're like, oh yeah, you start to make the associations. It looks different, but it's the same. Right? But what I might do is say, okay, this is getting real low, so I'm going to move it up an octave, or 2 octaves maybe. So if you don't know this trick, this is super important. Over 2, up 2. I need to tune my guitar, but... So, or you can do like the C shape and just move straight up to here. So I'm actually going to move it over to here, and I'm going to think... So that's what the riff would be up higher, and like I've never played that, so this interests me. Like I actually played G up here quite a bit on the 10th fret, so now I'm like, oh, I could do it like that, and that's how I like take like simple stuff, like start to move it around, or vice versa. Like I made up something, it seems new and interesting, I move it over here, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've done that a million times. So anyway, I hope that was interesting. If people liked the 15 extra minutes I did, if it was interesting, then let me know. Okay.